As a trader with the WatchBox, I try to be as in tune with the daily market of watches as possible. So you really can draw lines and see brands that make the mistakes that will cause their product to become less valued. One brand sticks out to me as a brand that is a powerhouse and there's just something missing and they lose value. That brand is Breguet. Breguet is the type of brand that, in my opinion, should be an independent watch brand. They should not be part of a group, which they are part of the Swatch Group. They make decisions that touch on historical pieces, they touch on classical watchmaking, and they touch on that in really fantastic ways, often. Their watches are finished to an extraordinarily high level, and they're beautiful. Again, they're among my favorites. One in particular comes to mind when I think of loss of value. The Breguet Ormonde is one of those pieces that is a true work of art, and for some reason on the secondary market isn't truly appreciated as such. And to bring percentages into it, you can find an Ormonde on the secondary market for just over 50% of the retail price, which when I think value retention, that's not strong. A couple things factor into that. Brand identity is a big one. Breguet is a type of brand that knows who they are. They know who they have been, and I believe they know who they want to be moving forward. They're victim to the next couple of factors: independence or lack thereof, and distribution. Any brand owned by a group can have its ups and downs relatively easily. If a luxury product is over-distributed, it can soon lose its luxury status. When you're a watch brand and developing a product, you want it obtainable by the everyday user, by the person who's going to want it, but you don't want that person to be able to obtain it remarkably easily and at an extreme discount. The over-distribution in the watch industry plays into a lot of factors. It's actually why the gray market exists in general. We'll see often brands who are a part of a group, whether it be Swatch Group, whether it be LVMH, Richemont. They often have pieces that are produced in too high a quantity and distributed in too high a quantity. This leads to an excess of goods in the market, which of course drives prices down. If you have 10 dealers with the same product, the odds are you're going to shop price. The more any type of dealer is willing to move on pricing, the more they want to sell the watch. One of the factors that will add to something holding its value is how hard somebody is willing to stick on price. As a trader, when I see a watch drop down in market share, lose value, I often look at the watch and think, was this produced with a trend in mind? Right now, we're seeing watches get smaller. 5, 6 years ago, the larger than life watches were very in, and there was a large push for oversized pieces. The oversized trend in general, I think, came to a head with the Breitling Emergency 2. That is a 52 millimeter, extremely thick emergency watch. It's actually a really cool piece, but it is unwearably large. And when that was announced, the trend of large watches was already over. It was already trending downward. So as a direct result of that, the Breitling Emergency 2, which is a relatively expensive watch, drops on value on the secondary market. As time wears on and that trend normalizes a little bit, we see the value of these watches that are, call it above 46 millimeters, we see them trending downward. Other than something like a trend, I see wearability being another big factor. People want to wear their watch from the beach to their office. And yeah, maybe it's a diver that they're wearing with a suit, or maybe it's a rubber strap watch that they're wearing with a suit, but that's what people want to do. As much as it's fun to change watches, it's also really fun to have that watch that looks really cool while you're sipping drinks by the beach and also fits in appropriately with work attire. It's not so much that dress watches are out of favor or that strictly sports watches are out of favor, But melding the two has proven to be fantastic for pieces. You can't wear an Oramundi to the beach. You can, you shouldn't. And at the same time, I can't wear my Breitling Emergency 2 to the office. It doesn't fit under my jacket. Those are two far removed examples of the same spectrum. Somewhere in the middle is that sweet spot, and that's where we see brands doing well. But quite often what we'll see is brands lean into either side rather than meet in the middle. Breguet leans into their dress watches. They lean into complications. As a result, more of their complicated dress watches enter the market, whether it be primary, secondary, and more are available. The area of the middle ground of the wearability, the beach to tux, beach to boardroom, that's what's selling. That's what's moving. That's what's holding value. Limited editions come up a lot in terms of whether or not something will hold value. And there's not a true formula for something that will do extremely well as in a limited edition versus something that will do poorly. I think the biggest concern is the frequency in which a brand will release a limited edition. There's a lot of buzz about Omega releasing a lot of limited editions, and truthfully, they do. There are a lot, but there are quite a few of those that do well on the secondary market. An example of a limited edition that did very well is the Omega Seamaster 300 Master Coaxial Spectre Edition. 7,007 pieces. Now, an example from the same brand with the same Bond branding that did not do very well is the Aquaterra. It's not that there was any major difference in the amount of pieces produced. More so, why did they release two in the same year? And quite frankly, the one that does well is the better looking piece. I like the Aquaterra version quite a bit, but it does take a pounding on the secondary market and effectively is worth just a little bit more than that of a regular Aquaterra. So limited editions can very much be hit or miss. It really will depend on, again, the frequency in which the brand will release a limited edition and the limited nature of the watch. So some big factors involving what causes a watch to lose value. Brand equity is quite frankly going to be the largest one. The more confident people are in a brand, the more confident they will be in the watch in general. Followed by that, it's definitely distribution and the ease of access to the product. Brands who have to answer to groups rather than being independently owned are hit or miss in terms of whether or not they will hold value. So that's something that you kind of have to pay more attention to. The idea of trends that we are discussing becomes a little bit more difficult. Ultimately, don't let the market necessarily determine your own tastes. If you like something and you have the means to purchase that, go ahead and buy it and enjoy it and wear it. Because quite frankly, in the 60s, nobody really wanted Daytonas. And now look at where the market is on them. So it's not something that you should look at what's hot. It's something you should look at what you like and what you will be able to enjoy and wear. Yeah, that's a little bit about value retention and what plays into that. If anybody wants to talk about the market, it's what I do all day, every day. I love doing it. Feel free to reach out to me. Be happy to chat. I'm Armand. This has been my episode of The Classroom. If you guys enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching.